Hey everyone, this is Dean with DCA Crypto. Bitcoin is about to break a record, and today we're going to cover that in this video, so I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel, smash that like button, and let's jump into it. Alright, today we're covering Bitcoin and the crypto market here. Bitcoin is about to break a record. I'm going to go over that in this video, show you what's going on with it and what to expect, or at least what we can kind of expect over the next few weeks here and potentially for the rest of this year. So let's jump into it. So we are at 2.4 trillion market cap Bitcoin as of this recording. Now anything can change, as of last night when I'm recording this, so keep this in mind. But we're almost to 66,000. If we close above 65,000 for the weekly, I think that ends on Monday night. So it might be Sunday night, but according to the chart, it goes by Monday, so it might be tonight that it's going to close. But basically, Ethereum, we still haven't broke that 2,800 mark. We really need to do that with them until we start breaking that. But Bitcoin really hasn't hit its all-time high for dominance this run yet. I think we're still going to see Bitcoin likely break 60% for its market dominance. And until it does that, I don't think we're going to see a true alt season. Alts are waking up. As you can see, there's a ton of green in the market over the last week here. We've got coins. I've seen some coins up 80-some% for the week, some up 50% and so on, but most of the micro caps. But there's a lot of big caps here in the top 100 that are up over 20%. So really, really good sign in the market that we're seeing the market come back to life. We haven't really seen this since earlier this year. So we had like 6 months of red pretty much for the most part, where we're just kind of going sideways with Bitcoin. So we'll jump into that here and show you what's going on with the charts and why Bitcoin is about to break a record. So if you go to the Bitcoin rainbow chart here, as you can see, we've just been kind of going sideways with Bitcoin, and I think we're about to make a move up. Now we could get this next dip down before we do that. That wouldn't be unheard of. Tomorrow's October 1st, so we'll have to see how this winds up closing on the monthly. But right now, it's going to actually potentially break, unless we get some kind of crash today. It's going to break a record for Bitcoin for a close. So we'll go into that here. But right now, we're not doing anything out of the ordinary compared to what we have in the previous cycles, other than breaking all-time high technically early because of the Bitcoin ETFs. So, it's kind of like an illusion. It looks like an illusion here because the chart goes up, at a curve. There's an arc to the chart, so it looks like we didn't break an all-time high when you just look kind of across, because you're in the yellow here, but you're in the red here. So it's kind of like an optical illusion, but we did break an all-time high here early, but that was strictly because of the ETF. So that's kind of the move that we made that was really bullish. But I just kind of thought, we're only making this move to all-time high early because of the ETF. If the ETFs wouldn't have been here, this would not have happened like it did. We probably would have pumped some, but not as much as we did with Bitcoin. And as you guys noticed, the alts really never went truly crazy like they do in a true bull run. We did have some AI projects that took off, a bunch of meme coins and stuff. Some of the gaming did pretty well, but nothing crazy like we'll see in a true bull run. If you look in 2019, we did the exact same thing here back in 2019. Then we came back down and took off into the bull run after the COVID crash, of course. But let's jump into the chart here with Bitcoin. So we are still in this channel. We need to break above this channel. I'm hoping in October, I'm expecting by the end of October that we will have broken above this channel here. And I'm kind of expecting, not guaranteed, but I'm kind of expecting a new all-time high for Bitcoin by the end of October or early November. But I don't have a crystal ball, guys. I can't guarantee that. That's just kind of my prediction for right now. If we break through this here and make this our support, we're going to go for a new all-time high. We may come back down and test it before we do that. But once we break through this level here and we get up above 70,000, I think it's game over, and we're going to break a new all-time high with Bitcoin. But if we get rejected off here, we're going to come back down, and it could be painful October instead of green October. But typically, October has been very bullish. We're going to take a look at that here next. But we've just been in this accumulating phase here for the last several months. I think this drop here down to 49,000 that I predicted off the top of this candle was our shakeout, hopefully. That could have been the last shakeout, and there's other chart people that are actually good at charts. I'm not good at charts. There's people that actually study markets for a living, and that's all they do. They think that this was most likely the shakeout for this cycle here, and that we could make a new all-time high with Bitcoin soon. So I'm hoping that's the case. That's what I'm planning on. That's all you can do. You can kind of plan for it, but nothing's guaranteed, of course. I've just been adding as much as I can to my portfolio when I can add it. So if we go to the monthly Bitcoin returns chart here, Bitcoin is about to break a record. So if you look at September, and this is very bullish, if you look at September, if we close above 7% return on Bitcoin in the positive, which we're at 11% right now, or we've smashed it, this will be a record percentage increase for Bitcoin in September, the highest ever. That is extremely bullish considering we've already broken an all-time high this year. So, this closing at 11% potentially, this hasn't closed yet. So, anything could happen and can happen in crypto. So keep that in mind. But if this closes at higher than 7%, higher than 6.04%, this will be a record high for September for Bitcoin in the history of Bitcoin. So this is very bullish. As you can see, every other time we've had a green September, it has been followed by 3 more months of green activity. So keep that in mind. And last year, when we were green in September, it was followed by basically 6 months of green activity. So that is kind of what I'm looking to happen potentially this time around. If you look at 2020, when we closed, we had a green October but a red September, but we had these 3 months of green in the last cycle after the Bitcoin halving. And after that happened, we had 3 more months of green in 2021. And then in April, we were down a little bit. In May, we crashed. We had a 35% correction in May and another 6% in June. So we had over 40% correction on Bitcoin in the middle of the bull run. So keep that in mind. That's where you got to be really careful and make sure you're taking out your profits, because we will get brutal corrections in the middle of the cycle. And we don't even know if we'll get a double top. If we get a big correction like this, next year sometime after we've pumped up to new all-time highs, it could potentially be the end of the bull run. So you definitely want to make sure that you're careful and take profits out, and don't think that we're going to keep going up until the end of 2025, because we might not. We might get a correction in March or April, and that could be it. That could be the end. Or we could have a little bit of a correction, then take off, and maybe the bull run ends in September. Nobody knows what it's going to do. So every cycle is a little bit different. We have to keep this in mind, that things are always a little bit different. They're similar, but different. They're not exactly the same. So will we have 3 green months after September if we close in a green month? We don't know, but history shows us that we always have in the past. And we've got the liquidity cycle coming. We've got rate cuts coming. We've got a presidential election in the United States. All of these things after having have potentially put us into a bull run after that. So hopefully that's what's going to happen here, and that's what we're going to look forward to. I'll do a follow-up video on this in a few days once we actually close this monthly candle, or this monthly close here, and once we get into this chart here. I want to see what this weekly candle does. This September 30th candle here is a Monday candle. Let's see what happens here over the next week. I'm hoping we break through this and don't get rejected. But I think last year, if we look at last year before we moved up, we had this, and let's see here. If we go to here, we had a September. This would have been the end of September, and then October 2nd, the week of October 2nd, we kind of stayed the same as our top for September. Then we had a correction. So let's zoom into this a little bit here and take a closer look at this, because this could play out. We could come up, and close a bullish September. maybe we spike up in the beginning of October, the first week of October, then get a correction, and then get a further correction in October. But we were all the way at, what, 28,000 at the end of September, and we ended up down to, not too bad, about 26,000, 26,500, you know, at the end of the first week of October. And then the second week on is when we started really taking off. So I'm hoping this happens and we break new all-time highs in October. We'll have to see what plays out, but they call it October for a reason. Typically, October is very bullish for crypto, and everything is in alignment for that to still be the case. It's not guaranteed by any means. We don't have our next rate cuts until November. There's potentially one in November and December, but hopefully we have October and things go crazy at the end of October. That's what I'm counting on and hoping that this works out for us, guys. But that's all I've got for this video, guys. Please give this video a like for the YouTube algorithm. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next video.
Tell me what you want, what you need. Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me what you want, what you need. Tell me, tell me, tell me.